Going out on the internet live.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today is what? What is today's date?
Monday, October 30th.
Monday, October 30th, 2017, and it's probably going to be in the low 80s today. Clear day, very beautiful day out there. So it's Monday morning, it's the end of October. And we are now going to review Simon Sinek's Why Leaders Eat Last TED Talk, which is not really a TED Talk. This one is on YouTube, so it's 99U. And on the calendars, which you don't really have access to now, but if you go to phase 2, and we're doing Google Apps, you'll have a link to this on the calendar. So we'll make sure you have it. So just as a quick review, what's the first question?
Was he a good presenter?
Okay, what's the second question?
Was he persuasive?
Good. Was he a good presenter and was he persuasive? So, Jamie, was he a good presenter?
Yes, because he captured my attention from beginning to end.
Okay, but hold it. So we're looking for a feeling.
Yes, he was a good presenter
What
because it
feeling?
made me feel a sense of cortisol.
No, cortisol's bad.
Oh,
Okay, you felt what? Intrigued?
intrigued, yeah.
Okay, happy?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, I felt enlightened.
okay. Scott?
One of the best presenters I've ever seen in my life.
Yes or no?
Empowered.
Okay, yes.
Yes,
he's a
of course he's a good
Okay, so
presenter.
pretend you're on the stand, right? When I say
Yes,
that,
he was
what
a
am I?
good presenter. He made me feel empowered.
Okay, good.
Yes, you make me feel happy.
Okay, because, so what I want to hear is because, so you're not being conclusionary. You're backing it up with some kind of evidence, okay?
Yes, he edified, educated me. In the
Okay.
sense of,
So that's not what we're looking for. You're talking about what you think. Okay, he edified, he educated me. Is that a feeling? Is education a feeling?
Yeah.
No.
no.
You might feel good by getting educated, right? But education is not a feeling. Okay, how did you feel? So I know this is your, what, second day?
Yes.
Okay.
I felt schooled in the subject.
I know, but that's not a feeling. Schooled is that's too vague for me.
It made me feel good.
Did you feel, let's start with that. Did you feel good?
Yes,
Okay, now, in what way did you feel good?
because I was receiving valuable information.
Okay, so you felt there was information that you could use in the future.
Correct.
So what neurotransmitter would that be? Dopamine, okay. Now, what did he call these neurotransmitters?
Chemicals.
Chemicals. He called them chemicals. Okay, T, good presenter?
Yes,
Because?
because he
Well,
Very factual.
because you. What did you
made
feel?
me feel, he piqued my interest in his factual.
Okay, so factual is not a feeling.
I was very interested,
Okay,
intrigued.
okay, curiosity. Okay, now, when you say factual, what kind of, what chemical, what neurotransmitter do you think
That
would be triggered?
endorphins.
Physical pain, asking physical pain?
Excuse me, no. Serotonin was
Okay,
released.
no?
No.
You felt pride?
I felt pride that I agreed and knew many of the things he was
Okay,
speaking about. It was
so
very
this is the
factual.
hard part. So for everybody get, this is really the hard part because we're conditioned to what, Greg? We're conditioned to what?
Forget.
Not forget. We're not conditioned to forget.
Perceive.
We're conditioned to what? Somebody who's heard me say it. Greg?
Think.
Yeah, we're conditioned to suppress our feelings, to suppress our emotions, and go by what we think. So we don't normally ask ourselves, how do we feel? We don't normally check into our feelings about something. We normally do what? We say things like you guys said about what you thought about it. And we're not asking here with this question, what do you think? We're asking, what did you feel? And why do we do that, Jamie? Why do we care about what you feel in terms of being a good presenter? Okay, if you don't know, don't guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What else? Don't say what? Don't say what? Don't refer to somebody at work as what?
Sure.
Why?
Places them above power.
Huh?
Give them power.
Yeah, so at work, not talking about social, not talking about at church. This is a work environment, not school. Don't call people sir.
Can you give the other person power?
Yeah, because what do they think then?
That they're the boss?
Yeah, that they're over you,
Yeah.
okay? How does that fit in? What's the first law of power?
Neutral.
No.
Power perceived is power achieved.
Okay, power perceived is power achieved. So if you're calling somebody sir, who has power?
They do.
Yeah, you're telling them you're better than me in their brain. You might not say it in your brain. You might say, well, I'm just going to call you sir, but I really think you're a sack of shit. But I'm going to call you sir. But in their brain, they're probably going to think that you think they're better than you are. So just don't do it. So here, just refer to me as director. Now, okay, I think okay, how did, good presenter?
He was a good presenter,
Okay.
and I felt enthused because I feel I could fulfill my dream.
Okay, Jeff,
Yeah, he's a good presenter.
because,
Because I feel
just say dopamine, okay? Christopher,
Yes, he was a good presenter.
because,
Because he got a lot of information out of that.
okay, that's no feeling. Okay, what's the feeling that you got because you got information?
Made you feel proud.
Feel pride, okay, maybe you accomplished something,
Yeah.
which would be what?
dopamine.
Dopamine, okay. So why here is the first question, is he a good presenter, have to do with feelings?
Because a good presenter make you feel good about it.
Exactly, that's exactly right, because good presenters make you feel something. That's what a good presenter is, here. Now, somebody else might have a different definition. Our definition is a good presenter is somebody who makes you feel something. It doesn't mean that what they make you feel is good or right. Like who? Who was a good presenter that had bad meaning?
Adolf
bad
Hitler.
goals? Adolf Hitler, right, okay. Good presenter, bad message. So we need to become aware of our feelings, because if we're not aware of our feelings, what's going to happen? A good presenter comes along, what's going to happen?
We become hypnotized.
We become hypnotized, and then what?
Drawn down.
We become,
We do what they tell us to do.
yeah, we become their puppet.
Okay, they are now in control. Okay, why? Because they got control of our emotions. All behavior comes from, well, not all behavior, all emotions are created by the release of chemicals, neurotransmitters. And we behave based upon neurotransmitters released in our brain. And our behavior affects the outcome of whatever we're doing. So, what's the second question? Cortisol. What's the second question? Was he persuasive? Okay, so what are we looking for here? Thinking. Okay, we're looking for what did you think? And specifically what we're looking for is did you learn something? Okay, because can you be persuaded, Willie, about something you already know?
No,
Why not?
because you already know it.
Because you already know it. So I can't be persuasive if I'm just repeating things that you already know here. Okay, now I could use that as a tactic to get to your feelings. Okay, by telling you things you already know. And then you're going to feel good about what I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
And then when I ask you to do something, what are you going to do?
Do it.
Probably,
Do it.
if you're not in tune with what's going on. So, was he persuasive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Extremely.
So what we want to hear is just one thing you learned, something you didn't know before.
That different man is a feeling.
The what?
Dopamine is a feeling. Whatever that is.
Dopamine?
Yeah, dopamine.
Okay, dopamine is a key, call it a chemical.
Chemical, yeah.
Okay,
It's like a feeling. Like,
well, it makes you feel. It's just a chemical. There's no feelings inside of dopamine. It's just a chemical that makes you feel a certain way. And if we go back now to the connectome, if we go to a neuron, where does the chemical get released?
Cerebral cortex.
In the neuron.
Oh,
Where in the neuron? What part of somebody said earlier? I think it was
Neurotransmitters.
Huh?
Dendrites?
What?
No.
Okay.
not the synapse. The thing that looks like a tree.
That's a neuron. Okay, but where in the neuron is the chemical released?
Lip pass?
Huh?
In the lip pass?
Are you trying to say synapse?
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. Okay, in the synapse. Synapses spit out neurotransmitters between each other. And then electrical signals are created that pass
How you
down.
spell synapse?
Synapse, how do you spell synapse?
SYNAPSE.
Okay, so Kevin, was he persuasive?
Yes,
What's one thing that you learned? There's 1,000 things, name one.
I like what he said about distractibility. Addiction to dopamine can be it squanders resources. Distractibility, like your cell phone, for example.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty good example.
Okay. Jeff?
Cortisol inhibits oxytocin.
Okay, cortisol inhibits oxytocin. Why would that be? Think about it. What does cortisol do?
Makes us paranoid and go into fight or flight.
Okay, why are we
Makes us nervous.
paranoid?
Causes
What's going on in our
stress,
brains?
stress and anxiety.
Okay, but why?
We
It shuts
perceive
down
danger.
non-essential systems.
Okay, but what else? So it shuts down non-essential systems. What else does it shut down?
Our immune system.
Well, yeah, now he didn't say it, but this is what we know, is when you're up here ready to give your poem, right? What's gonna happen?
Everything gonna shut down. You'll get nervous.
Okay, huh? What happens, Greg?
You nervous?
Okay, so what causes you to get nervous? Cortisol. So what is actually happening when you get nervous, when you're up here to recite your poetry?
Cortisol is drifting to your body.
Right, but what's happening to you? How's it manifesting itself?
Anxiety, fear.
Okay, but what's the result?
Your mind goes blank.
Yeah, your mind goes blank. So cortisol is like a brain cloud. Cortisol is like a brain cloud. It's like a fog in your brain. What's one way to get rid of the fog? Not that, a fog, actual fog.
Heat.
Right.
Introduce heat.
What else?
Wind,
Wind. What did he say to do when you have cortisol and you want to get rid of it?
breathe.
Yeah, exhale. That's part of the reason we say after they do the 3, 2, first thing you do is what?
Exhale.
Take a breath.
Take a breath.
Don't exhale, inhale.
Oxygen.
Also, when these things get longer, if you don't remember to breathe, you're going to have a hard time finishing when you're doing. So, okay, so what do we know so far? We think he was a good presenter because he made us feel things. And some people, I think Scott said the best presenter he's ever heard in his life. So,
One of.
okay,
One of.
one of the top 1,000.
No, one of the top 10.
Okay, one of the top 10.
Because I learned so much.
Okay.
I never take this much notes.
Okay, so I would submit it's because of how you felt. You felt things that caused your behavior to change. You felt interested, okay? And that then caused you to do what?
Listen intently.
Take notes.
Write stuff down.
Right, okay, that caused you to do it because it started with a feeling, not a thought. And if you are not positive about this, wait till we get into some of these other TED Talks, like how about Susanna Herculano?
First one?
Susanna
Right.
Herculano.
Would, yeah.
Okay. Susanna Herculano.
She taught us about the neurons and the
No.
difference between us
He
and
was-
other
She was
animals.
talking fast and stuff.
The one,
Okay.
the one counting neurons, the one's 86
Yeah.
billion, and the brain
Okay.
soup,
So why didn't you feel the same about her?
because she talked at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Okay, because you didn't feel the same way.
No, sir.
Okay, so you didn't take notes. He talked extremely fast. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of notes. I've been watching this since 2013 or 2014. About every 4 to 6 weeks. And I took a lot of notes because I felt like it, because I was compelled to do it because of how I felt. If I don't like something that I'm supposed to do, how do I feel? Okay, well, how else do I feel?
Disinterested.
Disinterested, right? And is it hard to do things when I'm disinterested? Yeah,
I feel detached. I get bored.
exactly.
My mind looks for other stimuli.
Right, okay? So that's a good point. We follow our feelings. So what's a good tactic at work? What's a good tactic at work? If we follow our feelings, what's a good tactic at work?
Listen.
Build relationships.
Yeah? Based on what?
Trust.
Based on-
Sacrifice.
Huh?
Dopamine.
I would submit sacrifice. Try to,
Build relationships based upon feelings.
So.
well, yeah.
Feelings. Can you build a relationship based upon endorphin?
No.
Okay, what's your second guess?
Yes.
Huh?
You can build a
Yeah,
relationship. based-
okay, think about it. Pretend you're attorneys. Think about it. How can you build a relationship based on endorphins?
We share the same thing as you.
Okay,
One the case.
no, say, how can you build a relationship based on endorphins? So what do endorphins do? What did he say is the fundamental thing endorphins do?
Mask pain.
Mask physical pain, not pain. Because what's a different type of pain other than?
Emotional
physical
pain.
Emotional pain, spiritual pain, right? So mask physical pain. How do you build a relationship based upon masking physical pain? This is very obvious. Don't overthink about it. What?
Lying.
Lying? Did you say lying?
Training.
Right.
What's the physical pain in lying?
Not like physical pain, when you mentioned attorneys earlier.
Okay, forget about the attorney part. Okay, I just said pretend you're an attorney.
Oh, that's
Okay, pretend you're an attorney and figure out how can you build a relationship based upon endorphins. It's really simple.
Shared experience. Shared experience.
Like,
winning your game together.
We both went through the
Like-
same thing.
Did you say
Like,
relating to
Both
somebody?
are masking the pain of the same thing in the gym.
yeah, hey, let's go to the gym. You become friends with people because you go to the gym together. Go for a run together. Can you build a relationship based upon endorphins?
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Because what's the physical pain you're masking?
Both. Like.
What's the physical pain you're masking when you go to the gym?
To-do list.
Working out, right,
Working
muscles,
out.
okay? So that's a way to build a relationship based upon endorphins. Hey, let's go release endorphins together. I'm gonna feel good, we're gonna then bond. That'll release other things. Can you have a relationship based upon dopamine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Like addiction.
how so?
Film.
Because you become addicted the more you use the substance.
This is a relationship with someone else. How do you form a relationship based upon dopamine?
Handshake.
Achieve a goal together.
Okay, so everybody can work in the same place, right? Hey, let's be number one. Let's sell all the product today. Huh?
Physical contact.
No, it's not for dopamine.
Accomplish some, you know, I know you there's a lot of something y'all can do today.
Okay, let's be on a team and win. Let's go win the games. Is that a dopamine thing?
Yes.
Winning?
Winning.
Some
Okay, can you build a relationship based upon dopamine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, like how?
winning a game.
Yeah, a team, we're gonna form a team, and we're gonna win the World Series.
To-do list?
Anybody see the game last
Yes.
night?
Yes.
No, we were on.
Not down.
Okay, so I heard that it was like the top of the ninth, and the Dodgers were behind. And it was like 2 outs, it was 1 pitch away from the end of the game, and they came back and they took the lead. Or they tied it up.
Houston won.
I know, but I didn't say Houston
Oh,
won, I said it was the top of the ninth. And the Dodgers, the game was like 1 pitch away from being over, and the Dodgers came back and took it into what, 12 innings? 10?
12 to 13.
Oh my God.
Okay,
It was 13-12 in the bottom of the 13th.
That's when I fell asleep.
okay. But it was to the point where they were 1 pitch away from the game being over for Dodgers.
Good stuff.
And they came back. Yeah, supposedly one of the best World Series of all time, best game of all time. But then the Astros said what as a team?
We could do it.
Not we can do it. Because if you say we can do something, what are you doing?
You're giving in the fact that there's a chance you can't.
You're giving yourself permission to fail.
By intimation.
Okay? If
Yeah.
you say
We
I
can do
can
that.
do it, you're giving yourself permission to fail versus we are
We
doing it.
will do it.
That's right, okay. So, we said he was persuasive, that he made us feel things. And did anybody here not learn anything? Okay, all right. So now, as kind of the next part, we're gonna break down what he said. But I wanna do it in the context of this, which everybody should have on board. Because what are the 2 fundamental questions that we're trying to answer here? What's one
Was the presenter?
in the class? What was one of the 2 fundamental questions? It should be on your, if it's not on your page that says program, page 5.
Why are we here, or what do you want to be?
Okay, close. What's the
Why did
question?
you behave when-
Too long?
If you don't, yes, if you, because I'm asking
Who
you
am I?
questions.
Why would they do it?
Okay, right, so so on your program page, which could be page 5, is it page 5 in your book?
You know, you didn't tell us to label it as a program.
The process?
Yeah.
Yes, I
The process?
Okay,
Process.
so
Okay.
one question is, who am I? These are the 2 fundamental questions here for job skills training. Who am I? So complete the sentence. If you don't know where you're going,
You won't get there.
nope,
Don't know where you're going, how do you know how to get there?
nope.
You don't know where
That's
it's
drawing a blank, apologize.
If you don't know where you're going, why apologize?
No, I said I'm drawing a blank, I
Oh.
apologize.
Oh. If you don't know where you're going, what?
Axe.
Where you going?
You're lost?
I won't get there.
No.
2 steps forward, 1 back?
Okay. So the old Chinese proverb, if you don't know where you're going, the answer is any path will take you there. If you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there because you don't know where you're going. You don't have a destination. Carrie Green, what's point number 1? Jeff? Carrie Green, point number 1. What do you want to be? You want to be successful in life? Well, what do you want to be? She says, if you don't know what you want to be, how can you figure out how to be successful? So here we kind of reframe it a little bit differently and say, who am I? And then question number 2 is, why do I what? Behave the way I do. Okay, now, if you think you behave the way you do because of the law of attraction, that's like having a roadmap that is guaranteed to never get you where you want to be. Because if you think about it, does the universe really care about you? Right, okay. Now what if you think you behave the way you do because an invisible man in the sky compels you to do it?
Oh, please.
Or the devil compels you to do it? Can you get to where you want to be if somebody else or something else is in control of you?
No.
No, you can only get there if they want to let you get there. Right.
If it serves their interests,
So
their agenda.
we here, our path to success, and success is leading a purposeful and meaningful life. It's not about a lot of money. Success is leading a purposeful and meaningful life. Our path is to know the answer to these two questions. Who am I, and why do I behave the way I do? Because if I know who I am, and I know why I act the way I do, then I have the ability to do anything I want to do. It doesn't break the laws of physics. Right, Greg? Okay, so we do it with this thing here. And our simple answer, who am I, is, what's the title of Sebastian Song's TED Talk?
On my connector.
I am my connectome. And what do we learn from Jill Bolte?
Stroke of insight.
Yeah, what did we learn from her? If you damage the connectome,
Damage yourself.
yeah, you aren't you anymore. Who was she?
Relearn everything.
Who was she after she had the stroke?
Child.
Huh?
A child.
Child in what?
Well, a woman in a child's body because she had to relearn.
Right. She was a woman, a child in a woman's body. She was a child inside of a woman's body. So who am I? I am my connectome. So I am the sum of my lived past, my anticipated future, my ability to imagine things, and my ability to simulate stuff. In other words, be able to make choices based upon things that I can imagine. That's who I am. Why do I behave the way I do? Well, now we're crossing over here. So this is neurotransmitters, chemicals released in our system.
That's the answer.
Yeah. Okay. And what did he say about that?
Call them chemicals.
So all of the good feelings we have are from these 4 chemicals. Now, there's a lot more than 4 neurotransmitters. He's only talking about 4 that make us feel good and 1 that makes us feel not good. So okay, so that's how it should look on your page. Let's see, what page is that? I think it's page 7. So on page, on page 7 is where you should have this on the right side of your page. Yeah, so if you don't have it, just draw that on the right side of your page.
Page 7?
Yeah, well, on mine it's on page 7. What's yours like?
But
Okay. So all neurotransmitters affect our behavior. And our behavior affects the outcome. Okay? If you feel bad and you behave as if you feel bad, what's the outcome going to be? Chris, if you don't, you go in to take a test and you don't feel good about taking the test,
You don't fail.
what's your behavior going to be? Probably. So you're hungover, you got to take a test. What's your behavior going to be? Good or not good?
Not good.
Not good. So what's the outcome going to be?
Also not good.
Or Negative.
Yeah, not good. Okay? So what happens is we have these neurotransmitters released in our brains that make us feel a certain way. We're focused on the ones that make us feel good. If these get released, then our behavior is going to be good. And what should the outcome be?
Good.
Yeah, so if you're going to go in and take a test and you feel confident, what is your behavior going to be? Okay, and what should the outcome be?
Positive.
Should be better, right, than if you go in scared. You could know the same amount of stuff, but you walk in and one is you're scared, one is you feel confident. Is the outcome going to probably be different?
Right.
If you feel scared versus you feel confident?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're memorizing your poetry and you're back there, how do you feel about being able to recite it? Confident, right? You feel confident. Yeah.
Like, I feel like I really want to memorize this poetry, but I know when I get up there and I do memorize it, I'm still not going to.
So you tell that to yourself. So you're down here.
No, I'm not I know, because
Well, but if you know it,
I've asked Officer Allen for like 3 weeks straight, and all I
ask
keep
for what?
getting is Lombardo stuff, sign off on it. That's the answer I keep getting.
So that then releases this
Yeah.
and it prevents you from being able to remember the stuff.
No, I can remember it. It's just I'm not pushing myself as much as I would. to remember it.
So you don't feel confident or.
I don't feel confident I'm going to get it. That's what I'm saying.
So, but that starts here. It starts here. Because you were already saying.
Well, no,
don't feel confident.
it's not. I can never trust what a cop tells me. I'm sorry.
Once again, that starts here. That's a belief you have, right? You're just looking, your brain is automatically looking for things to prove that you can't trust cops.
Okay, probably, yeah, right on there. So, well, when have they ever done me a favor?
Okay, so you have that belief. And that belief then triggers the release of what?
Natural.
Neurotransmitters, right?
Cortisol.
Cortisol. And maybe some adrenaline, right? And it gets you frustrated. And then what's your behavior going to be like? High or low?
Low.
Yeah. And so what's the outcome? When you get up here and you try to do it, or you're back there and you're trying to do it. The outcome is you don't remember it.
Yeah.
You can't get it into your brain. And so what we now know from the tools that they have, especially the fMRI, is that when you have a belief, that belief is going to control the outcome. Because it's going to go here, it's going to release probably a negative neurotransmitter like what?
Cortisol.
Like cortisol. It's going to release cortisol. What's going to happen to your behavior when cortisol is released? Yeah. So when these guys are up at the plate last night, the guy that's the Dodger, there's 2 outs in the ninth, the Dodgers are behind, he's 1 pitch away from losing the game. What happens if he gets a shot of cortisol? What happens next?
Strikes out.
Yeah. Not well, he's the batter. So not a wild pitch, but let's say he was the pitcher and he gets a shot of cortisol. He's one pitch away from a perfect game and he says, I can't do this. Something bad's going to happen, right? Okay, again, our beliefs end up releasing neurotransmitters, which then affect our behavior, and our behavior affects the outcome.
Was this the one where he was saying cortisol and adrenaline and the devil's cocktail, or is that the other one?
No, that's who else? Stefan's in here. That is Phillips.
Okay.
Okay, so who am I? Why do I behave the way I do? I am my connectome. And these things here go to be the rules that the beliefs that we have. Where's the belief that you have stored? In your neurons, right? Is it stored by an invisible man in the sky reminding you, oh, by the way, there's this thing? Or how about a devil on this shoulder and the devil on this shoulder whispering in your ear? No, so these beliefs we have are stored over here. This thing acts like a filter. We're going to talk about this 2 weeks from now or next week. But we have a belief, something happens, neurotransmitters released, our behaviors changed. That's why I behave the way I do. Now, he did say in there that we can just think things and have neurotransmitters released in our brain. Now, this is not a thing that comes in most of the TED Talks, but in a lot of our TED Talks, they allude to this. You don't have to actually do it to have the neurotransmitter released in your brain. What can you do? You don't actually have to have the thing happen. What can you do?
You can imagine it.
You can imagine it. We can imagine something. We can imagine if we need to be brave and need to be courageous, we can picture being a fireman running into a burning building to save a little baby. And the second you feel courage, what do you think just happened? What caused you to feel courage?
You get a release of
Adrenaline. Dopamine.
Well, you get a whole bunch of them because I have a task. I need to go into that building. I need to save the kid.
you get a release
People are
of
going to feel proud of me if I save the
you
kid.
get a release of oxytocin.
Bonding. I'm helping someone else.
Oxytocin. Release.
Massive amounts of these. Did I actually run into the burning building before I felt that way?
No.
Am I the guy actually running into the building?
No.
Is anybody running into the building?
No.
No, but how are these neurotransmitters released in my brain then? Because I can imagine it.
That's basically why I've had, in my past life, I've had success with the phrase, imagine it occurring, visualize success. And sometimes when I employ that strategy, it actually works.
Okay, well, it will always work if it's possible. But you can't say, I'm going to imagine I'm a brain surgeon
Within
and not
reason.
have any skills,
Within reason.
right? But if you have the skills, what happens?
They
Can you imagine?
I'm hesitant to use the word miraculously,
Yeah,
but
because it's not a miracle.
the skills, like taking a test, for example, of the knowledge that I've amassed in the last 3 days in this course.
Mhm.
Say I was taking a test tomorrow morning. If I think positive and imagine succeeding, imagine passing, and you bequeathing me with a diploma, 7 times out of 10, I'm going to give it 70%. In my past experience, it happens.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to talk more about that in the future. So let's go through these neurotransmitters. But first, let's go back to the starting point. Why did he talk about Johnny Bravo?
He's an alpha.
Huh?
He's an alpha.
Okay, but why did he talk
I
about
think
it?
he
That's
said
a
it.
description of him.
I think he said it to illustrate the fact that
They
they're not
were not
born,
born.
they're made.
Okay, what are not born?
Leaders.
Bombers?
Leaders.
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 So he was saying that, but what is the other thing? What was the quote that Johnny Bravo gave?
Because they do it for me.
Because they would have done it for me. Why did you sacrifice? Why did you risk your life for these other people? You didn't say because it was the right thing to do. You didn't say because I was commanded to do it. What did he say? Because he would have done it for me. So this is the answer to the question, why leaders eat last? Because they would have done it for me. Okay. Why do we sacrifice for other people? Why did he say we sacrifice for other people?
Oxytocin.
Before he's talked about any chemicals. In about 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Those leaders make us feel safe.
Okay, in the very beginning.
Talks about military versus the business
Okay.
construct.
So we're social animals. We need to work together to survive. Okay, that's what we are. So when you say because they would have done it for me, what does that imply? I sacrifice for the group because they would do it for me.
And
We're part of this thing together,
it implies an inherent trust, faith.
which is built, okay, because of actions. Okay, but it is we are conditioned that if this person is the alpha male, what do they get? Benefits.
Benefits.
Okay, but what is the cost of that? What's the cost of leadership?
Sacrifice, ultimately.
Yeah, we have to take care of the people around us. We have to make them feel safe. Now, we might have to sacrifice to make them feel
Which
safe.
means you work harder, not less.
Correct. Okay, so now let's go through the chemicals. So E is for what?
Endorphins. Dopamine.
Now, when you see this written, so he always says endorphins. When you see it written, it doesn't usually have an S after it. It's endorphin.
Oh,
Okay, just a little tidbit. You
That's
can
right.
say endorphins. People are going to know you're.
and I didn't know it had an E at the end of it.
You thought it was F-I-N-S?
No, P-H-I-N-S.
Okay. All right. D. Okay, what does endorphin do?
Mass physical pain.
Masks physical pain. That's what it does. People who like going to the gym. So if you find people who are, their body's in good shape, they spend a lot of time working out, what is it that drives them to make them feel good? Endorphins. So if you want to win that guy over, if you want to bond with that person, what should your relationship be based on? Yeah, working out, because that's the guy's chemical of choice to feel good. Okay? What's D?
Dopamine. Very dangerous.
Okay, forget about that part right now. Let's focus on the good. What does it do? What's the primary purpose?
Helps, makes us get things done.
Get stuff done.
The to-do list.
Okay?
Yes,
The reward center.
Because
What?
you when you accomplish something. Rest, yes, they.
Res
Addiction.
gesti,
This addition.
things done. Okay?
Addition.
Get things done. Okay. Huh?
Addition.
Addition?
Addiction.
Addicted.
Oh, addiction.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the bad part of it.
Don't worry, I'll translate for America.
Okay, so what's the good part about dopamine though? It makes us get stuff done. So he said, if we eat something, that does what? That we like. If we eat something that we like, let's say we like oranges. We eat an orange,
Releases dopamine.
dopamine's gonna be released, right?
Yeah.
But then he said, the sight, he was talking about apples, and I don't really like apples. He said the sight of an
Oh, an
apple
apple
tree
tree.
does what?
And it get closer.
Releases endorphins.
It releases
dopamine.
what?
Releases dopamine.
Dopamine,
Okay.
releases dopamine. So we eat an apple, we like it, oh, that's good. And I get a shot of dopamine, right? My brain then gets conditioned to say, oh, all I have to do is see an apple, and what happens? I'm gonna get a release of dopamine. If I see an apple tree, I'm gonna go, what?
Towards it.
Go towards it
Towards
to get what?
Your
Apple,
reward,
because I
apple,
really want what?
because you're hungry.
No, I don't want the apple, I want what?
Fruit.
I want the dopamine. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
feel good because of the dopamine drip.
So it's like a carrot on a stick. Give me the focus on getting it.
A carrot on a stick.
Or string, whatever.
It's the carrot or the stick. Would you rather have the carrot or the stick?
The carrot.
Carrot suspended by a stick.
Oh, that's a different
So you
one.
keep walking towards it.
So, yeah, so in that case, that would be it. I see the tree. Every time I look, the tree is getting closer. That gives me another shot of dopamine. I keep going, I keep going, I keep going. And what happens if I get tired? If I want to move forward, I want to get the apple off the tree, but I'm getting tired and my feet are getting cut up. Now what happens?
You need an analogy as it gets bigger and closer.
Why?
Because it's releasing,
Because now get what gets released.
no, not true.
What gets released now?
And endorphins.
No.
I see the apple.
Dopamine.
It's getting hard to get there. I'm
Endorphins.
saying, fuck it.
They mask physical pain.
Cortisol is now overcoming the dopamine, right? I
Yeah.
want that apple, but I don't think I can get it. It's too hard. There's too much rocks, or it's too cold outside, or it's whatever. What gets me to keep going for the apple? No, what's the other one? My feet are cut up, I'm in pain.
Oh,
Pain.
serotonin.
No, I'm in pain.
Cortisol.
No, I'm in
I
pain.
said
What gets me
endorphins.
moving? Okay, yeah, well,
Cortisol.
yeah, you might have said it, but other people are saying different things.
Oh,
So I might not just be responding to you.
I apologize.
Okay, so what gets me to keep going is now I get endorphins released.
A second wind, so
Right.
to speak.
What did he describe? We're tracking the food.
We actually use the word endurance, something that we have that other animals do not
Okay,
or
and we
lack
have endurance because what?
because of endorphins.
Yeah, one reason.
Right.
Another reason is we don't have fur, so we don't overheat. We can
All
perspire.
right.
Okay, what? Huh?
I remember chasing antelope.
Yeah, chasing the antelope. So what happens? We get tired, but we keep going. I want to get that apple off the tree, but it's the rocks down below are really hard, or it's really steep. I'm getting cut, but I really want that apple. It's not the dopamine, just the dopamine that's going to get me to make it. It's now dopamine plus what? Endorphin, masking the physical pain to get there. So the point is, it's not just one. If it's more than one, it's called what?
Endorphins.
If it's more than one, Jeff, it's called a what? A cocktail.
Oh,
Go about
9:40.
We having fun.
Okay, let's just finish these up. What's S?
serotonin. Oxytocin.
And how did he describe that?
Right.
Okay, what else?
Serotonin it's an emotional question versus a rational idea.
What did he say?
Reinforced relationships, spouse,
Bonding between parents and children.
leadership chemicals.
Leadership,
Leadership,
Right.
achievement,
okay?
to-do list.
Wanting to do something to make other people feel what, Greg? Proud, okay? That's that type of bond. It's not a physical bond, it's an emotional bond. I feel proud of them. Okay, O is for what?
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin. Which is what?
Anxiety.
No.
Doubt.
Chemical
No.
trust and love.
Oh,
How did he describe oxytocin? This is the what? The best one.
He used
So
love
this
and,
is the best one,
love and trust.
okay?
Bonding.
Unicorns,
Rainbows, unicorns,
Physical contract.
warm evening.
Yeah.
okay?
Hugging.
Huh? Okay, now, the key thing to remember about this is, he said, this is the best one.
Right.
Coming back to Jeff, cortisol inhibits the release of oxytocin. Okay, oxytocin, we're gonna find out on Wednesday, repairs heart damage.
Oh, wow.
It's designed to do that,
That is a fact.
okay? C is for,
Cortisol.
okay, C is for cortisol. And cortisol is what?
Stress, anxiety,
Okay. So what's the way I describe it? It's a way for you to think about it. Yeah,
paranoid,
think of it as a brain cloud or a fog that you can't figure out what should I do. That's why think about the gazelle out there, right? When gazelle hears something, what does it do? Right? Because it doesn't know, is there danger? It's trying to figure it out. When you're up here and your brain goes blank, what are you trying to do?
Figure it out.
Yeah, you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to recite your poetry, but you can't remember it, so you're trying to process on figuring it out, but you have a brain cloud in there. So, let's see, we've got 2 minutes before Greg makes the call. Leadership. Okay, now, first of all, I want to say, the reason we watch this is not the reason he's speaking. He's speaking to talk about why leaders eat last. We're going to come back to leadership with Simon Sinek in week number 4. We'll get into leadership week number 5. We're going to come back to the leadership part. Here, the reason we watched this was because he does a good job of breaking down these neurotransmitters. And the takeaway that you need to get is if you make people feel, that means what? Neurotransmitters are what?
Release.
Being released in their brains. You're releasing neurotransmitters in their brain. Now, the goal is to release what? The right ones.
The right ones, instead of the
Okay.
bad ones.
If you want to release oxytocin, but the guy says, what are you trying to do? I don't understand. What did you actually release? Cortisol. Cortisol. So we got to get, if we can release these, we will impact people's behavior. We need to know what neurotransmitter we need to release, because if I don't know where I'm going, what? Any path will take me there. I need to know where I'm trying to go.
8 directions, up, down, left, right, east,
Is
west.
that testosterone on the bottom of the T?
Yeah,
Let's see, hey.
adrenaline.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so behavior, so what we need to get is all emotions result from the release of neurotransmitters. You cannot feel something. You can't feel something if the neurotransmitter is not released in your brain. Okay, so it's 9:45. Let's wrap it up.
Hi, this is Greg from the Larson Training Skills. Yes, we are.
Well, we get to keep these like at the end of the class.
Yeah.
Done. The big composition